1959. Over the impenetrable jungles of the Belgian Congo, Colonel Remy Van Lierde, a legendary World War II flying ace, is piloting a helicopter on a routine mission. He is a man trained to spot camouflage kanks from miles away and has shot down 6 aircraft and 44 V-1 bombs in World War II. But as he glances down at the canopy, he sees something that stops his heart. He banks his helicopter over a clearing and sees a shape that defies every law of modern biology. A serpent, greenish-brown, enormous. It was a snake, but not just any snake. Van Lierde estimated it to be 50 feet long, the size of a luxury motor coach. When he lowered his helicopter to get a closer look, the beast didn't slither away. It reared up, ready to strike at the metal birds circling above it. Van Lierde makes 3 passes. He drops to just 30 feet. The creature doesn't flee. It rears up, its head the size of a horse, eyes locked onto the cockpit, and lashes towards Van Lierde, who anyways was questioning reality sitting inside the chopper.
I've lost control!
Van Lierde's passenger could only snap a single blurry photograph of the snake at that point. When they landed, the world's leading biologists laughed. They argued that a snake of that size, estimated by Van Lierde at 50 feet, could not exist in our modern atmosphere. They cited the laws of thermodynamics. They cited the limits of the reptilian heart. They said the giants were dead. But 50 years later, deep inside a massive open-pit coal mine in Colombia, a team of researchers found a bone that proved the colonel wasn't crazy. He wasn't seeing a monster of the present. He was seeing a ghost of the past, a nightmare that ruled the world for 10 million years after the dinosaurs fell. The Cerrejón mine is one of the largest in the world. It is a place of dust and heavy machinery, but for paleontologists, it is a time machine. In 2004, a student named Fabiani Herrera was hunting for fossilized leaves. He wanted to know what the rainforest looked like 60 million years ago. He found the leaves, but he also found something he couldn't explain: a massive, dark, petrified bone. At first, the team thought it belonged to a prehistoric crocodile. It was too big to be anything else. But when the fossils arrived at the University of Florida, Dr. Jonathan Block noticed a specific set of ridges on the bone. These weren't crocodile vertebrae. They were the interlocking T-shapes of a snake's backbone. But there was a problem. If this was a snake, it was big enough to swallow a cow whole. It was the birth of a legend, Titanoboa cerrejonensis. To understand Titanoboa, we have to look at the math of biology. As a medical student might tell you, the human body is governed by the square-cube law. If you double an object's size, you triple its surface area, but you increase its volume and weight by 8 times. Titanoboa was 48 feet long. It weighed over 2,500 pounds. That is the weight of a Honda Civic compressed into a spine and muscle. On land, this creature was a slow, crushing weight. It moved with the heavy friction of a tank tread. But the moment it touched water, it became weightless. It became a stealth predator. Its eyes and nostrils were positioned at the top of its skull, allowing it to hide just inches below the surface of the murky Paleocene rivers, waiting for the vibration of a passing crocodile. Titanoboa didn't use venom. It didn't need it. Its primary weapon was kinetic energy followed by static pressure. Scientists estimate its constriction force was 400 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, imagine the weight of the Eiffel Tower being applied to your body through a silk rope. It didn't just stop the heart, it caused total vascular collapse. The blood simply had nowhere to go. Feeding this massive body required a massive heart. In the sweltering heat of the Paleocene, the Titanoboa's metabolic rate was likely 3 times faster than a modern-day anaconda's. It was a biological furnace. Every meal, crocodiles, giant turtles, primitive lungfish, was incinerated by stomach acids so powerful they could dissolve bone in a matter of days. Why did it get so big? The answer is the Paleocene-Eocene Thermal Maximum. 60 million years ago, the Earth was a greenhouse. Carbon levels were skyrocketing. The tropics were 34 degrees Celsius on average. For a cold-blooded animal, heat is fuel. The hotter the world got, the bigger the snakes grew. Titanoboa was quite literally a product of global warming. It wasn't alone. It shared its swamp with turtles the size of small cars and crocodiles that reached 20 feet. But Titanoboa sat at the top. It was the ultimate response to a world of giants. But, as we know, the higher you climb, the further you fall. "10 million years after it appeared, Titanoboa vanished. The Earth began to cool. The tropical furnace shut down. As the temperature dropped, the biological engine of the Titanoboa could no longer sustain its massive frame. It simply couldn't get enough heat to move, to digest, or to live. It was outcompeted by smaller, faster predators. We return to Colonel Van Lierde. Science tells us his 50-foot snake is a physical impossibility in our current climate. But as we pump carbon into our atmosphere, as the global thermostat begins to climb back toward Paleocene levels, are we inadvertently rebuilding the cradle for the king's return? The Earth has a long memory, and the giants may only be sleeping. I'm Nishant, and this is the Billionaire Bugle.